Welcome to the weekly MindSweep number 200. Mind your business, shame. The price of proof. Have you ever sent a proposal that made your stomach drop the moment you hit send? You sit there staring at the screen, pulse racing, brain humming with the same uneasy rhythm that used to precede a pop quiz you forgot to study for. You've just quoted a price that is double what you've ever charged before, the price your work is actually worth, and your nervous system is having none of it. Within seconds, you feel the familiar rush. Your cheeks get hot, your heart rises in your throat, and you wonder if you've gone too far this time. You picture the client opening the email, eyes wide, saying to their team, "Who does she think she is?" You refresh your inbox like a slot machine. You don't really want to win. And then it happens. You get a reply. Your body reacts before your brain does. The adrenaline spikes, your palms start sweating, and you freeze with your eyes fixed on the subject line. It's it says nothing dramatic, just regarding proposal, but your brain has already filled in the blanks. They hated it. They think I'm greedy. They're never going to hire me again. You hover over the unopened message, bargaining with yourself. Maybe I should have taken out that line item. Maybe I should have added more deliverables. Maybe I should have lowered the price before they even read it. You wait an hour, then another. I've begun calling this professional procrastination. The fear isn't even about the number anymore. It's about what the number means. Because when you put a price on your work, you're not just selling your service, you're revealing your relationship with worth. Finally, you click. The message opens with warmth. "We're in. We can't believe the value you're providing for this scope. Let's move forward." Your body cannot compute. The same nervous system that was bracing for rejection now has to absorb approval. Relief floods in, but so does confusion. Because even when it turns out fine, the shame still lingers. That's what shame does. It convinces you the verdict was written long before the evidence arrived. Running a business as a creative ADHD entrepreneur means living in that liminal space between intuition and overthinking, courage and collapse. Our work is an extension of who we are. Every proposal, price point, or pitch becomes a mirror reflecting our internal landscape. We don't just build brands, we build belonging. So when something threatens that, like when a client doesn't respond quickly, a social media post flops, or a quote feels too high, our brains see it as a threat. The ADHD creative mind is wired for sensitivity. We read nuance, tone, silence. We notice every unreturned emoji and interpret it as evidence. Shame loves this. It feeds on hyper-awareness. They probably found someone cheaper. I should have offered more. If I were more organized, I would deserve this rate. This internal dialogue isn't melodrama, it's neuroscience. When you perceive rejection or judgment, your amygdala fires an alarm. The body floods with cortisol. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that governs logic and perspective, goes offline, and you lose access to rational self-talk. The brain reads potential disconnection as an actual threat, which is why creative entrepreneurs often swing between two poles. Overproving, "I'll throw in an extra deliverable to make them happy," and avoiding, "Maybe I'll lower my rate next time." Both are protective, both are shame wearing different outfits. But shame isn't proof of failure, it's proof you care. It means you're emotionally invested in the work, and your nervous system is awkwardly simply trying to keep you safe. Let's be honest, pricing our work is rarely about math, it's about memory. Every past feeling of not enoughness sneaks into the spreadsheet. Every old belief about being too much, too sensitive, or too inconsistent whispers in the background while we type. For creative trailblazers, money can feel like a performance review and a popularity contest rolled into one. The stakes feel high because our sense of value is often tied to contribution and feedback. We thrive on dopamine, the dopamine hit of appreciation, and dread the crash of perceived rejection. So when someone questions or even pauses at our price, it doesn't just threaten the project, it threatens belonging. The brain's translation: if they say yes, I'm safe. If they say no, I've failed. Here's the reframe: your rate is not a measure of self worth, it's a boundary for your energy. It protects your time, focus, and creative bandwidth so you can deliver the very magic they're paying for. And boundaries, while uncomfortable at first, are what makes sustainable success possible. From a neuroscience perspective, every time you hold a boundary, including a price, despite comfort, you strengthen the neural pathways of self-trust. You teach your brain that discomfort doesn't equal danger. You rewire the loop from proving yourself to believing yourself. Whether it's feedback, pricing, or a missed opportunity, shame tends to narrate the fact before the facts arrive. The practice isn't to silence that voice, it's to pause long enough to question it. This week, let's practice this. Pause before you interpret. Notice your body's first reaction. Where does shame land? In your chest, throat? Maybe it's in your stomach. Label it without judgment. I feel heat. This names the emotion before it hijacks your story. Name what's being protected. Ask yourself, what part of me feels threatened? Maybe it's your integrity. Maybe it's belonging. Maybe it's the need to be seen as competent. Identifying the value beneath the shame reframes the experience from punishment to information. Anchor in the present. Gather the facts. What do you actually know? What assumptions are you making? Often the shame narrative collapses under the weight of real evidence. Regulate, then respond. Do something grounded before you act. Breathe. Step outside. Stretch. Pet the dog. Calming yourself helps you think clearly so your next move is a choice, not just a reaction. The more often you walk this loop, the less power shame has to run the show. Entrepreneurship will always expose your inner landscape. It's designed to. Each proposal, launch, and pivot pulls you closer to the edges of your comfort zone where shame and courage often travel together. But self-trust doesn't arrive once shame disappears. It grows because you met it and stayed. Each time you hold your rate instead of discounting out of fear. Open the email instead of avoiding it. Allow feedback without collapsing into self-blame. You are teaching your brain a new truth. Safety is built from within. For creatives, that inner safety becomes the foundation for consistency, clarity, and authentic connection. It's what lets your brilliance shine without burning out. When you run your business from regulation instead of reactivity, the work becomes lighter. Not because it's easier, but because you're no longer fighting yourself to earn the right to do it. That's what it truly means to mind your business, to understand the mind behind your business. A few days after that proposal email, and once I was self-regulated, I could look back at the exchange with new eyes. Nothing had changed in the thread. The words are still the same, but I had changed in the reading. I realized how quickly my brain had turned an opportunity into a threat, how my body had carried a story my mind hadn't fact-checked, and how easily worth can be conditional when you live and work from your creativity. But this time, I didn't rush past it. I noticed the flush in my cheeks, the tremor in my hands, and said quietly, "You're safe. You can believe good things too." Because the truth is, the shame never came from the client. It came from an old equation that said worth equals approval. And every time I choose to price, to pause, and to trust, I rewrite that math. After 200 weekly mind sweeps, the main takeaways remains. Your business can only grow as much as your self-trust grows. Meeting the moment before the story, choosing curiosity over critique, and trusting yourself are the real foundations of sustainable success for creative trailblazers like you. My two questions for you this week. How does shame show up for you when you talk about or set your prices? How might your business change if you trusted that discomfort meant growth and not danger? I'd love for you to reply and share with me. If this conversation stirred that familiar ache between confidence and doubt, know that you're not alone in it. Shame doesn't mean you're broken. It means your brain is trying to protect what it values most: connection, belonging, and creative freedom. That's where the work begins. Together, we can trace the stories beneath your self talk and uncover the hidden patterns that keep your creativity on edge. We'll map how emotion becomes behavior, how protection disguises itself as perfectionism, and how to reestablish safety so your best ideas can finally breathe. Your story doesn't need fixing, it needs witnessing. When your mind feels seen, your creativity comes back online. If you're ready to build a business rooted in clarity, confidence, and creative safety, let's start with a MindSweep mapping session. It's a deep dive designed to connect your brain, your business, and your next brave move. Your brain, your business mapped. You can book a free MindSweep chat or a free consultation at chickbookcreative.com.